used to have over 600 agents, and over the last several years, that's dwindled down by not being allowed to hire additional people. And then suddenly we have a major cut that's going to basically cut us in half from under 400 to approximately 200 or less.
The National Gang Threat Assessment reported that 48% of the crime overall across the nation is committed by gang members. So, why would we cut our gang and drug people at a time when terrorism, drug cartels, human trafficking are operating within our borders and corrupting our system, unless that's what you want? You know, and that's the frightening thing.
As part of our lawsuit, we did mention that we believed that the governor's decision was predicated upon the fact that we seemed to be in favor with him prior to the election for governor, and then CSLA endorsed Meg Whitman.
Is Governor Brown so vindictive that he's cutting the law enforcement capability of the California Department of Justice merely to avenge their support for his opponent?
In some ways, that's probably the least scary answer. That's something that's kind of explainable, but the other thing is, I mean, why would you help criminals by making sure they don't have to look over their shoulder?
He shared an interesting story of how the politicians avoid being held accountable, especially by law enforcement.
You know, I did a wiretap case one time, a state wiretap. That's a difficult thing. You write a warrant so that you can tap people's private lines. And there's a long laundry list of crimes that you can actually investigate using this technique. I noted that there was one that was not allowed. You know what that was? Public corruption. You could not write a wiretap based on a public corruption crime. Now, why would the Legislature of California make sure that that was not part of the law, that you couldn't wiretap a member of the legislature who was dirty, doing some corrupt act? That could only be guilt. That's what I call guilty knowledge. They know that they're doing wrong. They don't want anybody to know it.
Well, what should we do about it? We can't just keep fleeing states that fall to the corruption. How do we take a stand? How can we stop this encroaching tide?
I say throw them all out. Let's start over. Throw them all out. And perhaps we'll have a better chance. And, you know, if we have unknowns running, maybe that's a good thing. Because maybe all our known personalities, people who have public recognition, maybe they're already compromised.
The full two-part program will be featured on local cable channels across the nation. If you would like to see the entire program, you can watch the full show on this streaming page, or you can order the DVD here on the website. Full Disclosure will continue to bring you the news behind the news.